up, you guys? Welcome to my channel and welcome back if you're a returning viewer. It's great to have you here with me, and it feels really good to say that again. I have been gone for quite a while. I wasn't exactly planning on that happening, but it was kind of for a couple of reasons, mostly because of life just gets busy in general, but also because none of the releases this year have really excited me very much so far. That is until now. Recently, with the summer coming along, you're getting all of the fall and Halloween leaks going around, so that always kind of brings me back. But that, along with Kringle Candle's new 3-wick release that just happened a couple of weeks ago, really started to pique my interest. So I did end up getting a couple of those 3-wicks from that release, along with some of the mini tins that they just released as well. And so I was planning on making a video a little bit sooner, but then I found out that I was going to be receiving the new fall collection in the 3-wicks. So that brings us here to today's video, where I will be discussing all 7 fragrances launching. But before we get into that, I do want to disclose that I am a Kringle Candle ambassador, which means if any of the candles in today's video sound interesting to you, you can use the code WickedDullBoy for 15% off of your purchase over at Kringle Candle. So this is a commission code, so anytime you use it, I do receive a small kickback from it. So if you're planning on using it or have used it in the past, I do want to thank you very much. And I also want to thank Kringle Candle for sending me these brand new scents for me to try out for you guys. And with all of that out of the way, I am really excited to get into brand new fall scents. So let's just go ahead and jump in. So going over some launch info here, the collection is going to release on Thursday, July 9th at noon Eastern Standard Time, and it will feature 7 fragrances, 1 returning, and 6 brand new scents, all available in the 4-wick, the brand new 3-wick, the mini tins, and the wax melts. And those fragrances will be Aspen Ridge, Brown Butter Pear, Cedar Incense, Orange Ginger Honey Cake, Pumpkin Cashmere, White Pumpkin and Sage, and Autumn Harvest. So Autumn Harvest is unfortunately the only one that I don't have here in person with me. Well, technically, and we'll go over that a little bit later, but since it was a returning fragrance and the PR turnaround had to be really quick for this collection, it was decided that it was not going to be included in the PR, but it will be available in all the formats that I went over on launch day, so don't worry about that. And also, just another little aside here before we get into the brand new fall collection, I do want to mention, because I know there's some people out there who are not really excited for fall in July. It's still a little bit hot outside, and some of those fall fragrances can get really heavy. But if you are looking for a fall leaning scent for the summertime right now, Kringle just released in their summer collection this new American Pie scent. And I had to be very careful with that because I was burning it. I've been burning it like all this past week, and I am kind of obsessed with it. It's this really beautiful, like, fresh apple with just a slight hint of that cinnamon spice and just a little bit of that like flaky pie crust in there as well. It is so amazing, and you guys know that I'm not really the one for gourmands all the time, but that has like been my go-to fragrance for this past week. I think it's really awesome for that summer into fall transition, so definitely wanted to point you towards that fragrance if you're planning on picking up anything from the fall collection. But anyways, without further ado, let's finally get into the fall collection. So starting out first here, we are going to be talking about the only returning fragrance for this lineup, and that is Autumn Harvest. Now, obviously this wasn't sent in PR and I don't have the physical candle here with me, but based on the scent notes for Autumn Harvest, which are a top of anise star, bayberry, caramel, and fruity, and a mid of cinnamon, clove, pumpkin, and spice, and with a base of musk, powdery, and sweet milk. Those notes really stood out to me when the fall information was released, and that's because I had seen them before in the Halloween collection in the form of Graveyard Night. So I ended up reaching out to my contact over at Kringle Candle, and I did receive confirmation that they are the same fragrance, just that one has fall packaging and this one obviously has Halloween packaging. And yeah, this is actually a very nice fall fragrance. It wasn't one of those fragrances in the Halloween collection that really stood out to me. Usually with my Halloween fragrances, I like to go in that more conceptual, spooky territory, but this one is actually like really sweet and confectionery. With this one, you do get a heavy hit of that caramel in there with just a little bit of those fall spices, and then those base notes really come through in this one, the powdery and the sweet milk. It does have an almost like milky, creamy texture, but at the same time, it also feels like there's a little bit of like powdered sugar in there. And I think when I talked about this one a few years ago, I said it kind of reminded me of one of those like confectionery Halloween cookies that you would get at like a Walmart or something. The ones with like the very powdery like cookie on the bottom and then that icing on top, the really sweet icing. That's what this scent kind of reminds me of. And also surprisingly, this scent is kind of a cousin to Sleepy Hollow from the Halloween collection, but definitely takes on more of that sweet, fun fall, more pumpkin patch hayride type of vibe as opposed to like haunted house spooky. But overall, it is a nice, sweet, fun fall scent. It's not necessarily one of my like absolute favorites, but I do think that gourmand lovers are gonna really like it. So if you like those types of like sweet caramel based pumpkin spice type of scents, then I would say consider giving Autumn Harvest a try. So let's go ahead and move on to the 6 brand new fragrances. Now these just got here about 20 minutes ago. I have not smelled any of these, so these are going to be my very first sniff impressions. Unfortunately, since these fragrances released this Thursday, I don't think I'm going to be able to burn through all of them and make a post-burn video before the release, but I am planning on burning through these this week and posting them to my Instagram. If you would like to follow along with those, I'll leave my link in the description. I'm also just at the same handle at Wicked Doughboy over on Instagram. But let's go ahead and get started here with Aspen Ridge. So the scent notes for Aspen Ridge are apple, wood, fir needle, spice, and vanilla. Ooh, that one is so fresh. Wow, that is beautiful. So straight off the top, you are getting a really nice fresh apple, just a little bit of that spice. It is kind of taking on that like apple cinnamon quality, and then you get hit with that fir needle in there. But this one is really crazy to me because that fir needle in there, it doesn't smell like Christmas tree to me. It really smells like fresh forest, like out in the middle of a forest. Like it's kind of giving me that type of vibe when it like freshly rains in a forest, or if it's a little foggy out and all the trees are kind of releasing their like essential oils, like just really cool and crisp and very atmospheric. I really, really like this one. It almost in a way has a little bit of like a eucalyptus type of thing happening, not in a way where it's like punching you in the face, like not bottled eucalyptus essential oil, but more so of like that fresh in nature type of feel, like a very fragrant tree in the forest. It doesn't smell artificial to me. It kind of gives off the same type of vibe as like Leaves from Bath and Body Works as well. It's not as heavily spiced as that one though. Just really, really gorgeous for fall. And I feel like this could also work in like November going into Christmas as well. Really, really excited to light this one up. I am very much loving the 3-wick format. From what I have tried, the American Pie has been absolutely amazing in the 3-wick. And also, I guess I should have mentioned at the beginning that Kringle is phasing out their 2-wick formats. But yeah, not that I disliked the Kringle 2-wick. They did hold a special place in my heart. But just from what I have experienced from the American Pie, I am just really in love with this. I love the size of it. The new wicks are very lightweight. They're not really hard to take off. They come on and off very easily. And I'm just really overall loving the design on this. All right, so up next here, let's go ahead and talk about brown butter pear. So the scent notes on brown butter pear are brown butter, juicy Bartlett pear, peach skin, caramel, tonka bean, vanilla, and musk. I can't say that I've ever tried a candle with pear scent notes before, so I'm very interested on what I'm gonna think of this one. That is not as heavy as I expected it to be. It's actually quite fresh. It's a really nice, juicy, bright pear on the top. I am unfortunately getting a little bit of that peach skin in there as well. I'm not the hugest on peach fragrances, and I definitely can smell it in this fragrance. And then a nice heavy dose of butter. It is a very buttery fragrance. It's not overtaking it though. I think there is a really nice balance of those fruity fragrances and a little bit of that butter. I am also getting like kind of a buttery caramel out of this as well. It's not super heavy on the caramel. Like, I wouldn't say that this is first and foremost a caramel forward candle. I will say this one does kind of remind me of the, I want to say it was called like Ambered Apple and Walnut from last year's Reserve line. It does remind me of that fragrance a little bit without those like nutty elements. I do like this one a lot more on cold than the Ambered Apple and Walnut. I did not really enjoy that fragrance, but I remember that one having that peach note in there, and I think the peach note in that candle is definitely in this one. So I don't know, I am kind of torn on this one. I am finding qualities in here that I am enjoying, but I'm gonna be very interested to see how I feel about it while it's burning, because it definitely smells like it could take a few turns. All right, so up next here, we have the one that I was the most excited for, and that is Cedar Incense. So the scent notes for Cedar Incense are smoldering incense, charred cedarwood, star anise, myrrh, pink pepper, clove leaf, oak moss, patchouli, and black amber. I am obsessed with anything that has incense in it and smoky firewood, so I'm very excited to see how intense this one is going to be. Ooh, it's definitely not as intensely smoky as the scent notes make it sound like it's going to be. That's definitely still in there though. There is a really nice smoke in this one. There is quite a lot of different things happening in here. There's a little bit of spice to this one that I really like. I am definitely getting that pink pepper in there. I think that's what's lending this one its spice. It's that very bright, zesty type of pepper. This one has like a nice cheeriness to it. I was expecting it to be like really dark and smoldering, but it's actually like really nice and poppy. I am also getting that clove leaf in there, and I am also getting a little bit of that oak moss in there. It does have a nice like mossiness underneath it all. It's so weird. There is a lot of stuff happening in here, and you can smell each individual layer, and I do really like it. The more I'm smelling it, the more of that smoke is coming through, and it is kind of giving off this like charred firewood type of feel. It almost smells like something that you would find in the Reserve line, but it's just in the regular Kringle line. Yeah, overall, I am really liking this one. It doesn't smell exactly like I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be a little bit more intense, but it's actually surprisingly reserved and elegant for how many intense scent notes it has. But maybe it'll get a little bit more intense as I'm burning it. There are a lot of things at play here, so I'm very excited to see what the dominant scent is going to become once it's burning. If you do like those smoky firewood type of scents, I do think that you are going to really enjoy this one. So next up, we have another gourmand in orange ginger honey cakes. So the scent notes for orange ginger honey cakes are orange zest, candied ginger, honey drizzle, orange syrup, and golden buttery cake. Is that correct? Or it's golden comma buttery cake on the scent notes down here. I don't know if you can see it. It says just golden and then buttery cake. So not sure if that's a typo or if golden is one of the scent notes. I don't know what that would be describing, but let's give it a shot. Whoa, that is really interesting. This one is very honey forward. It is definitely giving off like super honeycomb vibe. almost that type of like waxy, buttery honey. There is another really nice like buttery scent note in this one, same as the brown butter pear from earlier. There is a slight bit of that golden cakiness, but it's not necessarily super over the top to me. It doesn't smell like super cakey. Honestly, at first I was not sure what to think of this one, but I think the more that I smell it, the more I'm kind of liking it. It does have like a really nice, warm, cozy, baked good type of quality to it, but that super fresh orange on the top is giving it a really nice zestiness as well. It's very bright and fun. This one does smell a bit sweet to my nose though, so I'm not sure how much I'm going to enjoy this while burning, but it is fairly nice. I think gourmand lovers are going to enjoy this one. This one also reminds me of one of the candles from the Halloween collection last year. The name is kind of escaping me right now. It was part of like the witchcraft set of candles, and I think it was something along the lines of like many blessings or something blessings, but there was one that had a specific like citrus note with a honey note, and that one had a little bit of like florals in it as well. I remember it reminded me of like Smarties. And this candle has a little bit of that in there. So I think that's what is making me enjoy this one a little bit, because I did really like that candle from the Halloween collection. Although the more I go back into it, the more that butter is coming out, and it's starting to smell a little bit like artificially in a way. Almost kind of like that butter note from the popcorn scent from last year in the Boo Crew collection. It's kind of got a little bit of that artificial butter in there, and I'm not really sure I'm enjoying that about it. But I don't know, maybe it'll all come together while I'm burning it, and maybe it'll turn into something that I really love. Next up, we have our first of the two pumpkin fragrances from this collection, and this one is pumpkin cashmere. So the scent notes on pumpkin cashmere are nutmeg, cinnamon, cashmere, orange, tonka bean, vanilla, and musk. Ooh, that one's really pretty. Off the top, I am getting those fall spices, the nutmeg, the cinnamon. Then you get that really nice bright pop of citrus. And then you're getting that really nice smooth cashmere. It does have a nice like warm cotton almost cozy feel to it. You're definitely not getting like fresh pumpkin from this one. It is more so that like pumpkin spice equals pumpkin in this candle, because it definitely has that like bright red hot cinnamon type of craft store fall spice that I personally really enjoy. But that cashmere, the tonka bean, the vanilla really add a nice like smooth comforting tone to this one. This smells like a really classic, just nostalgic fall scent to me. It is a little bit basic fall candle, but done in a really nice, like elegant way. I think the orange in here is what really makes it interesting. It almost kind of reminds me of like Pumpkinhead from the Halloween collection last year. They're not one-to-one by any means. I actually do prefer the Pumpkinhead because that one has a really nice pumpkin note in it. And while this one is missing that pumpkin-y note, it does kind of play in that same way. But yeah, if you enjoy those type of like sweet cinnamon pumpkin, super spicy fall candles, then pumpkin cashmere is definitely the one you are going to want to look out for in this collection. All right, and last up we have white pumpkin and sage. And this one also does have some black text here. I was notified that this was apparently a mistake for this first run, and all future iterations will have the like silver text on it, but I do kind of like how the black text goes with these like stark white pumpkins up here. I do think it looks pretty nice. But the scent notes for white pumpkin and sage are white pumpkin, sage leaf, bergamot, crushed thyme, clove leaf, cinnamon, agave nectar, vetiver, and basil. Whoa, whoa. Yeah, it is very herbally, but there is a really nice, like zesty white pumpkin in there. Oh, this is such a unique take on a pumpkin scent. I actually am really liking it. Straight off the top, you are getting a really nice pop of that sage leaf, but it's not like super heady, super herbal to where it's like giving you a headache, like punch you in the face sage, because that white pumpkin kind of comes in and really like smooths out the edges of it. Definitely getting a hit of that cinnamon in there. It also has that typical kind of like craft store cinnamon spice in there, but it's not as spicy as the pumpkin cashmere was. This one also has that spicy clove leaf in there. Surprisingly though, I am getting a lot of that basil on the base here, and I actually think it works really well in this context. I'm not getting any of that bergamot straight up. I assume that's in there to just give this one that natural, like, fresh feel, but I'm not really picking up on like the citrus tones or anything. This one actually really surprised me. I wasn't expecting a lot from it, but I am kind of liking that it smells almost like a leafy, viney white pumpkin. It's very fresh, but at the same time has those heavy spices that makes it feel like a new take on a classic fall scent. Overall, really enjoying this one on cold. I feel like if you don't like that typical like spicy pumpkin type of scent, craft store if you will, you probably won't enjoy this one. But if you want a new type of take on that scent, I would say give white pumpkin and sage a try. So that is all I have for you guys today. Overall, I think that this is actually a really good collection. Personally, over the past few years, I feel like I haven't really enjoyed the Kringle fall collections as a whole. There's definitely been some standout scents amongst the few that I've really enjoyed, but as a full collection, I feel like it fell short in a few places. But this year, I think there's actually a really good mix of gourmand scents, of the pumpkin scents, and those kind of like fresh, cozy, woody type of scents. Overall, I'd have to say that my top 3 from the collection are the white pumpkin and sage, the pumpkin cashmere, surprisingly, and definitely the Aspen Ridge. I think that this one is just gorgeous. These definitely can change. I am also really enjoying the Cedar Incense. I will say that one on cold is probably the lightest of the 6, so it's a little bit hard for me to pick out what is like really happening in that fragrance, but I definitely am still intrigued by it, and I feel like it can crawl its way up my list depending on how it does in a burn. But once again, these are going to be releasing this Thursday, July 9th at noon Eastern Standard Time, which is 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time if you're on the West Coast. And if you would like to save a little bit of money on these, you can always use code WICKEDDOUGHBOY for 15% off of your purchase. I'd like to thank Kringle Candle again for sending these my way to review for you guys. And I'm also just really excited to be back and talking about candles again. I know it was a long time in between this video and the last, but I am really excited. We are just diving headfirst into the spooky season. It is spooky season from now until October at this point, and I hope you guys are excited about that as well. But as always, remember to leave a like if you guys enjoyed this video and subscribe for more fall and Halloween content, because you know I have more on the way very soon. Until the next one, I'll see you guys later. Bye.